Hi, my dear Astro family. Today I wanted to talk to you about the upcoming very beautiful full moon happening in the sign of Cancer. A load to cover here. We're going to talk about Ixion, Astrea, because those two are in conjunction to this full moon. But also we've got a cradle aspect from Jupiter is sitting on the degree of the previous eclipse. So loads to unfold, but this is a very beautiful full moon. I think we are ending the year on really beautiful notes, or at least this full moon might be the messenger of a better year ahead of us. Let's be very hopeful, but remember, Cancer is a cardinal sign. Effort needs to be made. We need to work on this. We need to reach out, and that's when we are able to manifest something great in our life. Let's do a couple of announcements. My medical course is coming up on the 6th of January. It's going to be 15 weeks. We're going to start from basics and we're going to build it up to a quite a professional level. So if you are interested in this, check it out on my website, AstroViktor.com, and I hope to see you there. By the way, I can see that new people are asking me whether I do tropical astrology or Vedic. I am a tropical astrologer. I don't know much about Vedic. I've never showed much of an interest. It doesn't mean I don't believe it works. It's just I don't wish to mix it. I've got so much to explore. I'm a researcher myself when it comes to astrology. I've got so much to explore in tropical astrology that I do not have that much time anymore on my hand to be able to figure out how Vedic astrology works also. Secondly, Christmas is coming up, and I decided to make a little bit of a Christmas promotion. If you go on my website, AstroViktor.com, you can spin the wheel of fortune and you might be able to win courses, webinars, membership, as well as discounts on readings and so forth. Quite few people have won big courses so far, so try your own luck there. I will be doing a Christmas flash sale as well on the 25th and the 26th. So keep an eye on that in case you haven't won anything. Let's get going with this beautiful lunation. So first of all, let's get the technicals out of the way. So it's going to be on the 26th or the 27th of December, depending on where you are. And it's happening on 4 degree 58 minutes in the sign of Cancer. So this is a full moon. What it means is that it's a culmination point. The sun and the moon are in opposition with each other. Often with full moons, we meant to be releasing something. We need to be adjusting something. And also we need to be making sure that somehow the needs of the sun and the moon are met. So we're going to have to bring them together. Therefore, this is the Cancer Capricorn polarity. Cancer is all about home, family, security, inner happiness as well at the same time. So this might be an invitation for us somehow to transform our emotions or an invitation to spend a little bit more time with our loved ones or just looking at the work-life balance in our life. But we're going to speak about this Cancer archetype surely quite a lot. Now, it has got a cradle formation. So what is cradle? Cradle is basically when we have got two planetary in opposition. So in this case, that's going to be the sun and the moon. Both of them are making a sextile to another planet. So the sun is making a sextile to Saturn, while moon is making a sextile to Jupiter. In the meantime, Jupiter and Saturn are making a sextile. And then you can see that Saturn is making a trine to Moon. So this is what we call as cradle. Now, this is quite beautiful formation. This is all about creativity. You can see there is a little bit of a tension there. The tension could be talking to us about something where we're going to have to face certain element of conflicts, for example, in our life. But it's very easy to creatively find a solution to that, or maybe it's very easy to stay positive as well at the same time. So I love cradles. Do you have cradle in your own chart? Let me know in the comment box below. But also it is called as a half hexagon because it can look like a grand hexagon, like a grand sextile as well. Why it is positive is because it's connecting similar polarities. So either it's connecting feminine signs or masculine signs and so forth. There is something in common within those. Now, if someone has got a cradle formation, often it indicates a person who longs to make a life a cradle where they can snuggle up and maybe shut off the rest of the world somehow. The cradle position depends where it is placed in your chart. If it's on top of the chart, so or it's going to be on the side of ascendant or the descendant, then it might be that your cradle is something to do with your profession, or the cradle is something to do with your relationship department. Or if it's at the bottom of the chart, then actually we're talking about a physical home or your own families as well. Sometimes a slightly bit of an issue with cradle that people tend to be running away from realities. But there are loads of talent involved here. These people are really good at dissolving or finding a solution to other people's problem. Often these people are like magnets. They tend to be bringing or attracting people to them. These people are empath, basically. That's how I would call them. So we've got this beautiful formation. So we have got loads to break down here. But before we do that, let's just have a look at what is Cancer archetype about. It is growth, fertility. It is probably with having Saturn in the sign of Pisces, which is very much about manifestation, the crystallization of our dreams. Then we've got Jupiter in the sign of Taurus, which is about financial abundance. Or it can even indicate something to do with your economical background or just the economy in the world. This would pretty much talk to us about that we have all got the opportunity to grow money on the tree. But you know what? It might be the question that what gives you security? What gives you a sense of security? I like mentioning, for example, that back in the days, they did research what is important to people at the workplace. And of course, you would have believed that the answer was going to be something to do with money and salary. And apparently, that was only the fifth indicator what mattered the most to people. And they wanted more of a team spirit. They wanted to be respected and so forth. Now, this full moon is definitely talking to us about work-life balance, where, what, the boss understands that, for example, Christmas is coming up and we want to be spending time with our loved ones and so forth. So one of the reasons why I love I loved working with people when I worked in catering business, which actually can be represented by cancer as well, because you had a chance. I used to give them an opportunity whether they wanted to work at New Year's Eve or they wanted to work, Christmas period, because at least giving them the choice makes them feel better that they have a choice and at least it was offered, and I'm not just going to get scheduled, for example, when I do not want to do that type of shift. And I think if the world was like that, trying to accommodate other people's family needs, then it would be a lot better place, right? So this is something we might need to be having to look at during this full moon in Cancer. How much time do I want to be spending with work? And how much time do I want to be spending with my family? But the Cancer Capricorn axis is also talking about traditions. So this might be talking about building new traditions. Maybe you have got that dream to wanting to create something new, but you might be afraid that someone is not going to approve of that. And maybe you need to be bringing this up. It's your own family, so building new traditions could be extremely fantastic, especially if you have got your own children and so forth. Also, Cancer is a cardinal sign, as I mentioned. This represents the beginning of summer. So, cardinality would be very much about power and will. So the first cardinal sign was Aries, right? Which is a fire sign. It talks to us about enthusiasm, will, and Cancer is going to be the second cardinal sign. Often that is something to do with acceptance. Of course, Cancer is ruled by Moon. The archetypes of Cancer is the mother, the poet, or the patriot. So this is very much about caring, sensitivity. Sometimes Cancer is cautious and protective. Just think about the symbol of Cancer, which is a crab, and it has got a hard shell around it. So I usually describe Cancer as someone who does not cry in front of others. They might be crying while they are making the dinner and so forth, but they keep, other people's needs right in front of them. This might be an invitation for you to do some self-caring, and that would be extremely important. I tend to believe that Cancer wants to feel the spiritual side of life, but also tangibility becomes very important to them as well. Now, just think about the movement of crab, right? The crab moves backwards. Sometimes we live in the past or does not go for the dreams. Sometimes manipulates others because Cancer is the suffocating mom archetype in a way. They would do anything to keep the children around. They would do anything, they would cook anything for you to come around for Christmas dinner. So one of the message here is with this full moon is not to get stuck in the past. Have a dream because you can actually manifest that with the Jupiter and Saturn sextile. You can go for it. But also, Cancer talks about inseparation. It's kind of like the mother and the children, right? They are inseparable. So this might be an invitation that something needs to be cut off, though. Remember that we've got a out-of-bound Mars at the moment. Even though this is not connected to any of the lunation part of the chart, but I would say that it's still important somehow to make yourself available for your own dreams as well. When we think of Cancer, this is where the second quarter of the chart starts. So that would talk to you about that the spirit turns inwards and rests over all experiences what it has learned. Something needs to sink in here. And the spirit starts awakening. This is the first water sign. So this is where some of the emotions are kind of like jumping into our own body, and we need to be able to digest that. Cancer is very much about going down on a memory lane, thinking about who cares for us, but who I want to care for as well. And when someone cares for me, then I'm going to jump fire if needed. I'm going to be protecting them at all times. Remember, this is a water sign. Water cannot take on any form. Therefore, what could happen is that I feel like water signs can become really dangerous. But you know what? Because they are a time bomb. But when it comes to kind of like a holistic person, or when it comes to, as a psychologist type of thing, that could relate to Cancer because they know what you feel. They know what you need, or at least they tend to be saying that. Okay. They are sensitive, shy, and often afraid. That's the reason why they have got that shield around themselves. So, Cancer is birth and life. Often it expands the family, and unfortunately, often it takes away a member of the family. This is talking to you about the circle of life. Also, Cancer represents an entrance to the underworld. It represents the funeral part of things. So, of course, when you are unfortunately passing over, you are going to be going into the Elysian fields, or you're going to go to Tartarus, or wherever you go, you know. So, but you are going to be starting an afterlife moment. So, yes, this Cancer lunation can indicate that, you know what, sometimes we at a loss, but sometimes we gain something as well. And I would say that the Wheel of Fortune is telling you now that this is something to do with gain. You might need to be going through some of your mother complexes, you know. So it might be an invitation to get in touch with your feminine side, or if you have got any type of issues with your mother or the way you were raised, maybe this is an indication that you need to deal with them now, because you never know what's going to happen next. And you might regret that later on. And you do not want to get stuck in the past. Cancer is the sense of belonging. Remember that the moon has got exaltation in the sign of Taurus. Taurus and Cancer are in sextile to each other. So this is pretty much about a sense of belonging. And now where you belong is your roots. That's what your Cancer lunation can talk to you about. So I think this is a very beautiful energy this time around. Of course, this could talk to us about emotional security. What makes you feel emotionally secure? It is asking you to work on your emotional foundation, but also this is really creative as well. This is about giving birth to creative ideas, projects, and works as well at the same time, surely. Some of you might need to be watching out, for example, to their digestion. Of course, we've got Jupiter in Taurus, sextiling the moon, so we can overeat with this. But also, it could be a feeling when you walk into your family home and then you smell that apple pie, and then it just brings you back certain type of memories. By the way, this lunation is happening on Leo what? And Leo is about fun and celebration. I feel like this is also telling you to ensure that you have got fun with your family. You spend time with your children, for example, but also do not be afraid of becoming a child again. Of course, we're talking about a childhood enthusiasm, for example. So that would be pretty much a little bit, I think, about the um, the cancer archetype. Very briefly, I think I can talk about cancer archetype for a couple of hours, surely, which I did in the past throughout some of my lectures when I was teaching about the signs. But I just wanted to summarize it to you a little bit so that you have got a feel about it. Now, what aspects do we see in this lunation? So first of all, this full moon has got a conjunction to Australia. Australia is actually one of my favorite asteroids, by the way. Australia talks about the ability to break karmic patterns. So are you ready to break karma? This could be, and this is probably something to do with family karma. This might be giving you the opportunity to go down on memory lane a little bit, to see what happened, in your childhood, for example. And it's time to kind of find solution for that. But also, Australia is oh, by the way, if you want to look at where Australia is in your chart, then you can go on astro.com, and then it's a main asteroid, so you will be able to find it in the additional objects. Now, Australia was the last to leave Earth when she completely lost her faith in humankind. What happened was that she gave abundance to people, and people became greedy. They started killing animals and they started fighting with each other. And she did not like that. So she even decided um, to leave the earth. And mythology says that she is only going to be returning when people are ready to embrace her, um, her golden, pure heart in a way. So what she represents, some astrologers connect Australia to Virgo, some connect it to Libra, but she would represent something to do with fairness, harmony, ability to distinguish between good and evil. It could represent legal issues, relationships, court cases, but believe in humanity, believe in yourself. This is about wanting to see the good in people. It happens in the sign of Cancer, right? So one of the question is that seeing the intention of people. This might be telling you that what is important for you this time around to get a present, for example, from someone, or just to spend time together with the beloved. Also, by the way, Australia would represent the Justice card in the tarot deck, and if you remember that card, the lady on it is blinded. She got blinded, but then she was able to make better choices or decisions because she listened to her intuition. Also, this could represent someone who is an idealist, having type of an idea, like idea of utopia, but often we see things black and white. Often our heads could be in the clouds, so has got a bit of a Neptunian quality, and therefore Australia can create some elements of false beliefs as well at the same time. Australia is asking us to let go of something to, in a way, to avoid difficulties or any type of um, 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 uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Confrontations. If you have got any issues of letting go of an unhealthy relationship or situation, then this is something where you can turn the corners now, I would feel, with this lunation. Maybe the question is, do you want to see what is right in front of you, or are you a little bit blinded? Do you actually procrastinate? These could be some of the major question um, um, what this lunation in connection to Australia might bring back or bring up to you. Australia in Cancer, I would say that, it creates lots of empathy for others. It is sometimes it's just I touch someone and I get a feeling of them. It could talk to us about being compassionate, but also it could talk to us about the victims of wrongdoing. It could talk to us about mutual understanding as well. Or it's kind of like, when you see someone somewhere freezing and then you just put a blanket over them. So this is something to do with kindness, humanitarian energies. I think this combination is really beautiful. Now, the other thing what we see is that the sun is going to be um, on a asteroid called Ixion. Now, Ixion was named after the mythical king of Lapith in Thessaly, and he killed his father-in-law. He wanted to be forgiven and wanted to be purified, but he could not find anyone. Eventually, Zeus did it, and invited him to Olympus. But then what Ixion did, he tried to seduce Hera. Hera was the wife of Zeus. And Zeus substituted her with a cloud and became the father of centaurs. Then he was punished by bounding him on a fiery wheel. He was just rolling with this in the underworld. So that would be the story. Now, one of the reasons why he killed his father-in-law was because the father-in-law never delivered his promise. He promised a precious wedding present. And to retaliate that, he stole his horses as well on top of that, basically. So that would be the little story. And you know what? Interesting that Zeus took pity on him and wanted to kind of give him forgiveness. And and then he still somehow managed to mess it up by making another fatal mistake. So Ixion can talk to us about this Jekyll and Hyde syndrome pretty much, or it can represent that we want everything, but we cannot understand that we cannot have everything at the same time. This is bringing up ethical issues, or it is telling you that everything has got its flip side. So everything has got dual meanings. Everything means something good and evil as well at the same time. Ixion is said to be the first murderer in Greek mythology. He had the chance to regret it. He did it, but he did not last something that, I mean, he wanted something that was completely out of control in a way. So he fell from grace. So it could talk to us about the violation of trust of others or disrespecting other people's traditions, for example, or taking advantage of someone's hospitality, for example, in this Cancer Capricorn axis. Or it could talk to you about how hard-headed you are to learn your lesson. Or it could mention that you just go around in circles and there is a certain element of karmic pattern going on that needs to be fixed and broken now with Ashleya being right on this lunation as well. So this is exciting. Ixion is about betrayal, cheating, disloyalty, backstabbing, recklessness, uh, criminal mindset. So some of us need to be paying attention to, any of the home security matters with this lunation. Is it a safe area where we live? Is it easy to be intruded somehow? But also, am I breaking the law? Because Ixion represents law breaking as well at the same time, together, by the way, with that Australia. So this might be, or by the way, even Ixion can represent someone who is a repetitive liar, someone who repeats the same pattern. So ask yourself the question, how was, because 26 is a Boxing Day, right? So often what happens is that, friends and families are coming to visit. What happened last year in Christmas? Is that going to repeat somehow? Ixion can represent a lawless marriage as well. Uh, but also kind of like what comes to my mind because Ixion can represent recycling too. So I'm just wondering if someone is going to be giving a unused present to someone else, and someone gets upset over this. So anyway, I think that's enough about Ixion. I don't think I've ever spoken about Ixion on YouTube before. So let's explore what other aspects we've got. So we've got this cradle going on with Jupiter and Saturn. So Saturn is in the sign of Pisces. It's brilliant for visualization. It's brilliant to crystallize our own dreams. Thus, I would call this position as the position of manifestation. Now, the fact that Saturn and Jupiter are in sextile, which is about luck, expansion and broadening your horizon when it comes to your finances and self-worth. So this could be an invitation to feel happier in your own skin. But also this could talk to us about just making something a physical reality. We just need to wish for it and it's going to come around. So make your dreams come true. I think this is the title I need to give to this video because this is really great. Then the other thing which we might see here, there is only one little, troubled aspect here, but that's a minor aspect, and that's between Moon Uranus semi-square. So this is asking you to express your authentic self somehow, but also to follow your intuition. So such as imagine a situation that, you know what, last year that person was a troublemaker, this year I'm not going to invite them around. But also it's about the usage of your spectral talent. So these are some of the major aspects. Now, what stood out to me in this chart, by the way, is that Jupiter is on the degree of the previous eclipse, which took place on the 28th of October. So you might want to be looking at if something started unfolding for you, financial opportunity, for example, or any of the opportunities that you might want to nurture somehow. Cancer is about nurturing. You want to be looking after that. So that's one date I would like to give you. The other thing which I have spotted here is that Chiron is actually stationary in this chart. Now, Chiron is going stationary direct on the 26th. So it's already kind of like looking like it's standing in the sky. It's on 15 degree of Aries, and it went retrograde on the 23rd of July on 19 degree 57 minutes of Aries. Why am I so precise with these degrees? Well, one of the reason why I am very precise this time around with that degree is because that is exactly where um, we have got the nodes sitting around. And more importantly, the upcoming eclipse, which is going to be taking solar eclipse, which is going to be taking place in April, is going to be happening on the stationary degree of Chiron. I think this is a huge deal. Chiron in Aries is about healing the self, healing the entitlement, knowing that you have got the right to exist. You need to have the courage, fixing somehow your courage. Remember, Chiron is a mentor, not just the wounded healer. So, you know what? Maybe you need to get the wisdom of others somehow. And maybe you need to become a healer for yourself or for others as well. So I think, mark my words, watch out what is happening at the end of December and beginning of January, because that topic might be coming back in April, May, when the solar eclipse is going to be triggering that point for us. So, guys, I think this is something I wanted to mention to you today about this upcoming full moon. So, oh, and one more thing, actually, that of course, Saturn, which is one of the dispositor of this lunation, right? Because it's a full moon between Cancer and Capricorn. And Saturn is currently sitting on a fixed star called Fomalhaut. And this is one of the royal Persian star, which is usually very spiritual, very compassionate, very intellectual. And this is a lucky star, basically. So it has got an element of Venusian, Mercurian, um, side to them. And I tend to look at Venus and Mercury cycles are as money-making cycles. So this is making money through spirituality, for example, but also this is definitely just the ability to create something when it comes to your own dreams. So, what is your dream? How do you want to make money out of that dream? Do you want to be a musician? Go ahead with it and start doing something about it. Do not just sit on your laurels. This is telling you that it's time to start something and it can happen. So, guys, thank you very much. And I will see you very soon. Bye bye.